Hey Faith Youth, it's good to be back. I know I keep saying this, but I really do. I miss you guys like crazy. I'm so excited for the day that we can be back. As you can see, I have a very good reason for why I was gone for 3 weeks. And Mandy and I would love to introduce to you our new daughter, Madeline. We feel so blessed to have her with us, and we are so excited for you to be able to meet her as well. I just want to real quick thank Javen Shepherd and all the rest of my leaders who kept you guys connected in my absence for Javen to do the videos. They were fantastic. Thank you, all of you, from the bottom of my heart. Mandy and I were reminded the power of prayer the day that Madeline was born. And we just like to share that with you, that story with you, and how awesome our God is and how important it is to keep honest conversation with him. And with that, I would love for Mandy to share the story.
Yeah, we started having signs of labor definitely that week, and had an appointment Thursday to say, yeah, I don't know how long you're gonna go. And by Saturday, was having the regular contractions and stuff, but not really sure, where things were at. And I have such lightning fast labors that we were praying through, well, do we call and see if we can go in or not? I was at 37 weeks, and so we did, and they ended up saying, yep, go ahead and come in, just with your, previous labors being so fast. And so on our drive in, Nick and I prayed together out loud just for, to trust God's timing, because I had a feeling I wasn't sure if they would send us home or not. So I think our prayer started there, just like, whatever your will is, we're gonna trust that. We got into the hospital and, got through the first, okay, do you have COVID-19 checklist, and then ended up getting admitted into the hospital and had to go through I had to go through a COVID-19 test where they stick it in your nose and rub the back of your throat. And that was another time where I was scared of that, even though I was facing possibly labor. That made me super nervous. And Nick held my hand and I closed my eyes and just prayed for God to keep me calm and breathe through that test. And it didn't hurt at all. The guy was very good at it. And then once they moved us to our labor and delivery room, we were just hanging out, and I was continuing to have contractions, and we were feeling pretty calm. And then the nurse came in probably around 11 or a little time after and checked me and said, well, you haven't progressed much. Let me talk to the doctor. And came back and said, well, she may in the morning, if you're still, if you're still pregnant, she may send you home or may choose to induce you. And that was definitely a moment of panic inside, of like, I don't think I can face leaving and knowing that I am in labor, and then also having to go through all of the COVID-19 stuff. And so I went in the bathroom and cried a little bit, and came back out, and Nick talked with me about just, that's not gonna happen, it'll be okay, it's not gonna happen, I won't let that happen. And the nurse came back in and I think saw our anxiety and was like, well, I'm rooting for you guys to be here. I will, also try to insist that you get induced and not go home and whatever. So she left, and I laid on my side and was feeling contractions and just started to pray. I just laid there and prayed that God would help me progress in the labor, because I knew that she was coming and I didn't want to go home. Also, like, immediately the contractions started to feel harder, and I was having trouble breathing through them, and instinctively was like, oh, I don't know if I can handle this pain. And then I was like, no, God, you need to help me with this pain, because that pain is good. I know it means that I'm progressing. And in that time, it was probably an hour and a half or something. As the pain kept getting worse and worse, it's hard to explain, but I just felt God, like God just there, just holding me and being there with me. And like, I knew that I was gonna have her, and the nurse came in and checked me, and she's like, oh yeah, you're at 6 to 7 centimeters, let's do this. And They called the doctor, and it felt like forever for the doctor to get up there, because at that moment my body was getting to 10 centimeters right away, and it was going to be time to push. And then that all started, and that's such a great amount of pain. But there were some things within that too that were kind of scary. They had to have me stop a couple of times, and her umbilical cord is wrapped around her neck and whatever. And but anyway, we had her, and they laid her on me, and it's just, I just look at all of that, and from start to finish, and I'm amazed at how God was there, and how amazing it is to have her, and that even in a pandemic, yeah, everyone's like, oh, it's a horrible time to have a baby, and sure, but to be able to see life and to see creation and the miracle that God does with this little life, I can't think of in a way a better time, because how encouraging is that to not only us and our family, but everyone that gets to share in the joy of seeing her, and just that example of, like, God is good no matter what the circumstances are in life. So I'm just very thankful that he got us through, and just to always be able to look back at this and remember that those moments of, Jesus was right there with us. And so
Thank you, Mandy. Yeah, and from my point from it was, I didn't have any control. I couldn't help my wife, and the situation was uncertain. But bottom line, what we're trying to share is that we both prayed. We both actively prayed, had honest conversation with God, and not only did God answer our prayer almost immediately, but we felt His presence with us. It really reminded us of what Matthew talks about in Matthew 7, verses 7 through 12. I'm going to read this with you. Ask, and it will be given to you. Seek, and you will find. Knock, and the door will be opened to you. For everyone who asks receives. He who seeks finds, and to him who knocks the door will be open. Which of you, if his son asks for bread, will give him a stone? Or if he asks for a fish, will give him a snake? If you then, though you are evil, know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more will your Father in heaven give good gifts to those who ask him? So in everything, do to others what you would have them do to you. For this sums up the law and the prophets. And what I believe Jesus is saying here in Matthew is that don't be afraid to ask God for the impossible. Don't be afraid to ask God for whatever you need to ask him for, whether it's comfort or a specific answer to a prayer. My challenge for you this week is we have a God who can do the impossible. We have a God who cares, and we have a God who loves us unconditionally all the time. So my challenge is pray. Speak to God honestly. Ask God for him to take away the virus. He can do it. Ask for God to guide doctors and scientists to find a vaccine. Pray and ask God to help you see what he is doing, even in light of these circumstances. We love you. We can't wait to see you. It is going to come sooner than we think.